mapping Bruce, and Bruce was the original GPS in Bali. Before there was any GPS, there was Bruce, and he got on his probably motorbike and cruised around and drew maps and took notes, and thus all of us can find these remote banjars, particularly up in the mountains, that some of them are down the dirt tracks, or they certainly were. There might be a road there now. Anyway, Soiji Gallery is here to co-host this event. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. And without further ado, Jan and Bruce.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bruce, and this is all my work that's on the table for scattered around. This is supposed to be a retrospective. What a retrospective means is you look back on what you've done in the past and you reevaluate whether it was useful or not. And so that's what I've been doing. There's an elephant in the room at the moment.
That's okay. Maybe you want to start talking about the elephant right now.
This is very quickly.
Yeah.
I have Parkinson's disease, and it makes my speech very, very difficult.
Which explains why we're sitting here.
We're
not just trying to get attention. Yeah. It's like, we didn't do this book, we didn't do this artwork, but we are sitting up here with him.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. For those who don't know, Parkinson's is a disease that makes the movement of your arms and your hands difficult. And also to lose your speech, which happens to me quite a bit. And I could make this presentation go for 45 minutes longer if I could get my mouth under control.
You're just blaming the Parkinson's.
That's right, yeah. It's easy to do. So just to say, please have some patience with me tonight. I won't be talking too much, but my coach is here helping out.
What do you mean? You're talking all right.
Thank you. So, thank you for coming tonight. And
we're going to start.
The second paragraph.
Yeah. So when he says the second paragraph is, Bruce asked me to read at the beginning of this presentation the preface from his book. Some of you have it on the table, but he still wants me to read it. So just a quick reintroduction again is that we've known Bruce for some time, and you actually approached us via email because he liked some of the work that we did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that first email.
I still do.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's because you're in it. This is really cool. I hope, at least from this evening, is that you guys get a sense of who Bruce is, and that's the whole point of a retrospective, actually. It's not about the Parkinson's, even though that's a wonderful way of getting to know his amazing mind through his art, and I will be probably talking about it a little bit later as well. But this presentation is different because he's an amazing writer. So we've simply put his words on the projection in case we stop and start, but you guys can always refer to it because that's his speech. So this is, his narration. And all the other stuff that I say in between, or Norman or our team, is just additions to what Bruce wants to share. So now I'm going to read those two paragraphs. Okay, so if you look at any civilization at any time in history, you will find people making maps. Monastic scholars, imperialistic explorers, illiterate navigators. History is filled with cartographers. Each one of them has made maps in his or her own unique way, and each culture has formed its own unique cartographic traditions. Every civilization has devised its own method to frame the parameters of its environment and boundaries of its interests. That is not to say that it's easy to make a map. Cartography has its fair share of challenges. For example, how to create the illusion of height in a range of mountains. How to show the visual qualities of an arid plain. How to show the direction and speed of a mighty river. Essentially, the question is how to translate three-dimensional qualities of a place onto the flatness of a two-dimensional surface. Throughout history, the best maps have been able to solve these visual puzzles and create maps that communicate clearly and accurately. The less successful examples are dense and illegible and remain with us only as visual oddities. Do you want me to add a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. Given these challenges, why do we go to all this trouble? Are we really that afraid to get lost? Certainly, nobody wants to get mixed up in an unfamiliar place. But this is not enough to explain our obsessive map-making activity. You're obsessive map-making activity. Something else is at work here, and he is obsessive. Why do people spend hours looking over maps of places they will never visit? Ruined cities of the past, or even imaginary places that never existed. Presumably, we don't worry about getting lost in an imaginary place. An answer is found by seeing map making not as a prelude to travel, but as a means of understanding our surroundings. I'd like to add that it's simply just a desperate means to try and understand ourselves. So this is why it's called Mapping Bruce instead of Mapping Bali. Yeah. That's the preface. Okay, I've done my bit. You'll go. Right. So, introduction. And do you want me to skim through this? Because I think everybody here is going to be fine with you speaking in English. Yeah? Yeah. Skip that. He's just apologizing why he's not speaking in Indonesian, but I think everybody is fine with him speaking in English. Okay. Go.
Okay. The presentation is loosely based on a three-part configuration. It might look like, if you take a quick look at the tiles over here, the tiles there, this is put together in a hurry, or in other words,
you just couldn't make up your mind about what you wanted to do.
That was it. I couldn't throw anything out. There's so many interesting experiences I had, and I just thought it feels important to me to stand back and hold over what I've done and ask myself, is it enough to build a lifetime? This artwork is probably divided into two groups: illustrations intended for publication, and abstract paintings simply done by for my own satisfaction. Here is how it is, starting with the illustrations. Okay, does everybody know what this is? Does anybody know what this is?
Dragon.
It's a mask. It's a Naga mask.
Yeah, dragon.
From the Ubud several years ago. I was able to go in and do documentary photography of the preparations for the cremation. And that's what this is. I call this inhale. This is inhale. What we have here are very, very detailed and very specific shapes and forms. They not only have waving forms, but they have little dots on them, and in different colors. Both sides are sure are the same. Some seashells that come down here. I call it inhale because I'm taking this in to feed my imagination. better than it is. I have no right to change it or improve on it. And I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. So I inhale. This is kind of point. I don't make any commentary on it. I don't make any it's good enough.
Yeah. So he says here, take for example an illustration of a photo for a book about natural history.
Right.
Yeah. Illustration is not about the illustrator, it is exclusively about the object being illustrated. It's part of the process I call inhale because it's observing and faithfully absorbing the complexity of the world at large. It means that there is no aspect of Bruce. That's why often when I met him, looking at these amazing illustrations, and I think everybody always responds the same way when they look at his illustrations and they go, oh my God, the talent, the incredible, it's just beautiful. Whilst he's ashamed of it. It's almost like a feeling like you're ashamed of it.
Well, don't speak so loudly.
Like, he hides it. He goes, that's not me. It's like, so it's almost like I had to get him to talk about the fact that these illustrations are his. Remember? Yeah. And I'm doing it now in front of a bunch of people as well.
Now this is the other side.
Oh, we know you love this.
You can see the little bit of the non-mass sort of the right-hand corner.
You wrote this and you're not reading it either.
This is what happens. This is what happens when I call it exhale. So this is what happens when all the things have gone in there, all the
information, and he wants to exhale and mess it up.
I'm going to jump to a metaphor, which I can't resist. I probably should not do it. One of my favorite foods is spaghetti.
You're hungry again.
Yeah, I will be soon. You get a big pot, and you take tomatoes, and you cut them up into little pieces, and green peppers the same way, and cheese perhaps, or whatever else. I'm not a cook by any means. But after about 5 hours, something's happened to that sauce. It's no longer a collection of vegetables, it's become a thing in itself. And that is what happens here, and that's what feeds the imagination. We should go on to the next one.
Yes.
Any questions? Anybody have any questions you can ask at this time? Or later on after we're done? Okay.
Yeah? Alright. So in contrast,
There is the full one.
so I'm going to explain a little bit about inhale and exhale. Yeah. So a few years ago, he had an exhibition that tried to make peace with the two aspects of his creative outputs. The illustration, which he was for a long time ashamed of because he saw it as a way of just surviving and making a living, right? Illustrations. And the other is just how he identifies who he is, and that's the artist, Bruce Granquist. He's an artist who does abstract work. Inhale, exhale is, you growing up and sort of like acknowledging both sides of these amazing talents. And he made sense of it by expressing in the inhale, as he explained, all this information is coming in and it's not about him, it's truly about understanding the world that is in. And then what happens inside the mind of Bruce Granquist and the breathing out of that information. Yeah, making spaghetti, obviously, that's what that is. So here is saying, in contrast to the illustrations, these paintings are very much about how I feel and think and have limitless freedom. They only need to be faithful to the inspection that motivated them. And this is the cover of his exhibition a few years ago, which is called Inhale, Exhale. And it's chosen here as an example because in the one piece he's showing you the detail and the precision. He said, I love what I love the most about what you said before was that he could not make it better than what it is, and he has no right to. But what that has given him is the exhale. And this is your journey. That's why he relishes it so much. That's why it is through the abstraction and the expression that's where you feel most yourself. Yeah. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Painting a leaf and discovering the structures. Let's start that again. Painting a leaf and discovering an abstraction for it. Making two abstract cartographic lines and seeing the movement of the dancer is the balance of these two powers that motivate all of my artwork. That sums it up in theory.
Do you have a question about that statement? Yeah. Yes. Alright. So, we're moving into a second section, which is Bruce is very well known for, and that's his map making. So, Inhale, Exhale gives you an idea of the scope of direction in his works, but he's going to share a lot about the process of what went into the making of this book, which is also being circulated around.
Quite a few years ago, I was drinking coffee in a coffee bar in Singapore with a friend who happened to be a book editor. And he said, Bruce, do you know how to make out illustrations? And I said, sure. I had never made an illustration in my life. I had no idea how to do it. But I was broke and I needed something happen. And so I felt pretty happy about myself. And he was a good friend. If he had known, he would have forgiven me anyway. He said, do you know how to draw maps? I said, sure. But not like that. Doesn't everybody know how? And I must have impressed him in the right way because within about a month or so I was on my way to Thailand to illustrate a book on culture and architecture and history in Thailand, which I did. And came back and they gave me a book on Bali to do. It had 12 maps in it.
And to make you an honest
It made me an honest man. There was a little bit of time left before I had to start the project, so I thought I'd better look up how to do it before they send me out again. And this is one of the kind of things that I was looking at the time. This is a map from 17th century Japan. And it's intriguing for just the different ways they abstract it. The way the table, the spaghetti sauce comes together. There's nowhere you can stand on this map and be in the wrong position. The longer I looked at it, everything had a point of view. Any point of view that you chose would be okay. It's hard to see because it's a small map, but that sort of thing intrigued me about the possibilities of making maps. This right here is I call it the 4 views of Wat Arun. If any of you have been to Thailand recently, Taman Ayun is a big one. It looks like the Eiffel Tower on the bank of the river there. And I thought to myself, I should do some color work on this. What would be the best way to put color on here? And I think that was before the monorail was functioning in downtown Bangkok. So it worked on some of pollution. Like some of these are seem more polluted than others, and those were quickly rejected by the yeah. This is the one I like. It's a little bit funky. A place I wouldn't mind going to. And that's what another thing maps can do. And we talked about GPS. There was no GPS when this started. There's a man who was a friend of mine named Lord Blair. Any of you know him? Quite a few people, yeah. Lord, who has everything in a cabinet somewhere, took out 37 sheets of the island of Bali topographic map, which saved me, because there was no way it was going to work without this.
You cheated.
No, I didn't. I was staying in a place called Tejikula, which is on the north side of Bali. And Tejikula at that time had one light bulb hanging from a wire in my little room, my class. And I had to go into Singaraja. Singaraja to get to send out access to the publishers. And anyway, this is what the map looked like in its first final. I have to do this.
Careful.
This right here are the names of all the villages in Bali. They go A3. So here they have the I think it's the ones, or I can't read it anyway. But they say this is the twos, this is the alphabet. And you might say, I want to go to Tagala. You go to the T, Tagala, getting it right. My wife even helped me with this one. I think she's let me forget about it. This is what's in the book. The logo that's in the book. This are the shipping routes. This is all done with a pencil. This is not done. The names of the villages are put on with Stipex. Remember Stipex? Yeah. These are different shipping routes and some of the mountains. This is a full-size mock-up done by hand. No
AI.
No mechanical.
No AI.
No AI.
No AI.
Alright.
There it is again. These are the mileage blocks, so you can see how far you're driving.
Okay.
This is the text right here. Handwritten. I still have this drawing.
We took photographs.
We took photographs of this, we've got details of it, and the postcards on every table has got a QR code that will take you to this presentation online that you can see. So when we looked at the map, it was also quite remarkable because when you really focus in on the details, the handwritten details, and I'm not just what he pointed out, but when I read the notes, he talks about flora, fauna, volcanic activity that's happening in the area. It's full of 100 stories, so very different from what we're used to.
What we're used to are boring maps.
Yeah.
Very boring maps. They work, they're tools, but they don't inspire you to go there. It bothers me, as you can probably tell.
Okay, next one.
Next one.
Okay.
Just read this one out?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
Oh, can you read it?
Well, this one, Nusa Penida,
Yeah.
once a place of exile and penal colony, and the island is surrounded by swift currents and has steep cliffs, which make it unapproachable, except from the month it is isolated that these are traces of old Balinese still found there. Nusa Penida is also famous for the famed demon Draupadi Mataling, who is said to reside there and who causes such fear that some Balinese are visually shaken just at the mention of his name. The island has a similar topography and climate as the Bukit one at Nusa Dua, but there are surprisingly lush areas on the southern shore, its waters behind rich harvests of seaweeds, exported mainly to other Asian countries. I mean, you see what I mean? Like, there's little stories everywhere, and I'm not sure that I would call Draupadi must be telling a demon conflict, but the rest of it is all good. It's like, yeah, it's wonderful. Anyway, here. Remember, this was before GPS software, as was like many digital tools we can't imagine living without today. Luckily, a friend gave me the Dutch topographic charts that were surveyed in 1928. Thank you for the Dutch. These were very important. It is possible this project could have been impossible without them. Yeah. So that helped you make yourself an honest. The next one. I've already apologized before for my outbursts. And you go.
This is just shipping routes.
Yeah. Now, are they drone routes now?
It is still.
Oh, yeah. So,
The sheets of the topographic charts were about this big. There's 37 of them, the size, that fill a large part of the floor right here in the front. And they had enough space to make a key, which was very valuable in the end for this project. The key had things like stone fences, cremation grounds, Christian churches. The Dutch at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I liked the best was walking routes. So this is a big, huge piece of paper that have all the walking routes all interlacing and going in different directions. And when I realized that those blocks are still here, and they're what we call roads. When it comes to as the topography of the map comes down the hand comes down the mountain to the ocean, it makes like fingers coming down from the mountains, and that is where all the walking routes are, up on the top of the ridge, the north-south direction. East-west, you should probably all know it's not an easy way to go. It's much more difficult to travel east and west. So those roads just got more and more popular as the population got to be greater, and then people put the first level what's the word?
And people put the first level of what?
I had a good run by it.
find it. Asphalt?
Asphalt. That's it.
Thank you.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. So,
As mentioned before, life was largely manual, not yet digital. So we were working with simple tools. I produced this map.
yeah.
Back when the project was early project, I had some dark thoughts that I had bit off more than I could chew.
You did?
This is 5 years, this project. And my poor wife had to put up with me and tolerate this obsession of mine. I love her dearly for it. One night I stayed up late to see what I had produced and was surprised to see that I had enough material to produce two projects. In other words, I was making two maps at the same time. While I was doing this, I was taking my 110cc motorcycle. This is scaring away turtles. As I was going along, I had one of those pouches that we wear sometimes, you know. And I made little sketches of things I saw that were interesting. Big trees, bridges, temples. Five years of those. I pulled them all out, put them on the table, and I put them out thematically. Architecture, big trees, whatever. And I stood back and I looked at it and I said to myself, I have a book here. This is a book. Okay. Sorry, go back. I didn't remember.
Next one?
Yeah. Yeah, please. So that's where the book came from. Is a way to salvage the first project. And in the end, I got a map and a book. And it worked out all right.
So we're now in the third section. We're discussing some of the way that you are finding artistic expression, but through your experience with Parkinson's.
Yeah. When I got Parkinson about 5 years ago, and I just tried some experiments at that time. I thought my days of being an artist were done, but it turns out my paintings now are much better than they were before I got it. They're more lively, they're more interesting, they're more hard to figure out. Yeah. The middle one is the important one here. That was a painting I was working on it in the back of my house one day when I just started getting the tremor in my hand. This one is made up of, it's a spiral.
The one in the middle.
Yeah, the one in the middle is a spiral. And there are 3 lines which spiral around each other. And I 1, 2, 3. Like that. And I looked at it and I said, well, it's kind of dark, but it looks okay. You can't change them. You can't change them when you do this type of work. When it's there, it's there. In about half an hour, I went back and I looked at it, and there's puddles of color around the spiral itself, and little white dots. And I thought, what on earth is that? And I took it out to the back of the house, and I sprayed it off with a hose, and made the whole thing all wet. And I looked at it, and this is what was left. Where the brush stroke had thick paint in it, it didn't dry. I sprayed on it, and all the excess paint went off. So it almost did like an X-ray of a line. And you can see if you're...
The middle one, still the middle one. Yeah.
I looked at that and I thought, it would take me a week to draw that thing. It only took me 10 seconds to draw it. That is what
Can I jump in?
yeah.
When we first went to his studio, you shared with us about how it felt when you first experienced the tremors.
The tremor,
Yeah.
below it, just like
Yeah.
this is what a tremor looks like. Anybody who has Parkinson's would say that. I trust that they would say the same thing. They look like steamed cucumbers. I don't know if any of you know, sometimes ugly things are delicious, but other times certain things are so ugly that they're never delicious. I got 2 bottles of sea cucumber to drink as a medicinal thing. And it put my face in different grimaces that I never explained. So I thought, well, I can't do this all the time. But I could try something like this. Use the same technique, but it's different than this one. You can't repeat them. You can't be done twice. I can't say I want to make 10 of these. This one right here, if you're interested, I think it's the one right here, yeah. Take a close look at that one. Because it's made some beautiful arcs. I did 3 of them, all in a row. This one is breaking free of the geometric shapes. I think this is the painting that makes me happiest today. Painting can. There's not much you can say about it. You can see objects in it, you can see figures in it.
Next.
I want to call it
Strange mood in funky town.
strange
Mood
mood
in funky town. That's the title. And we agree.
Yeah. What was it?
So this is just recapping. Yeah. The first image shows how much control I was able to maintain over this painting style. This image shows the effect of Parkinson's disease 15 years later. Certainly the lines are not as steady, but I was to see how expressive they are. The tremors in my right hand are not just haphazard shaking, they are more like oscillations that have a definite pattern and rhythm. These oscillations are seen clearly within the calligraphic lines of this piece, crossing the forms, suggesting radial marks. This piece looks like it has been drawn over with a pencil to create the illusion of a 3-dimensional form. But actually, this illusion is a byproduct of the process of the piece. So this is what a tremor looks like. I realized that the calligraphic lines such as these could only be done by a person with Parkinson's. So I decided to explore some ways to use my tremor as an artistic tool, and intend to turn the liability of Parkinson's disease into a new technique of artistic expression. Do you want to continue? Just this one. The final painting shows a Parkinson's image made up of 4 vertical lines to create a field. The black paint I used in this painting developed bubbles as it dried, not part of my plan. While I get more experiences for this method of working, I am open to be surprised. So that was the ending. Yeah. So I'll just close that.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Is to show them the available article. Yeah, would you like some water, Bruce? Would you like some motion? Red wine, no.
He was really looking to drink my portion. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Oh, wait a minute. Visit site.
Ada karyanya yang mau di-launch ke mereka?
Yeah. So what I want you guys to know is if you go on our website, this presentation is also there written in Bruce's own words, and a catalogue of his works that are here has also been prepared where you can enter and have a look at them at your disposal as well. But what Bruce wanted, I'm going to just share some of my impressions as well, yeah? What you've got here, and he's made them available for you to touch and feel them, not even with the instructions to wash your hands beforehand. That's all Bruce, that's not me. Right? So he goes, because once he's done with the painting, he goes, oh, he's got no more business with it. He doesn't care about it. But I want to share with you that there are illustrations here that are from 20 years ago that were part of the project that made this amazing book. We vetoed, not to bring the original maps. He wanted it out here. Seriously, so you agree with me, right? Don't be mad. So a map that took him 14 years to complete by hand in pencil. He wanted it just out here. We said, no, don't. Bring the book, sell the book, keep the map safe. And but some of these illustrations is part of this project. So you see the Denpasar temple, the market, like these illustrations, the Warung, Singaraja Warung, these are part of this project of him wandering around on his motorbike without a GPS, writing everything and observing everything and drawing everything in the inhale version of his process, taking it all in and not allowing Bruce to have a say in it and just trying to take it all in. And I think for us, what we were discussing, we brought the team in, and we had a discussion about it. Yeah, you're looking worried. And we had this talk where I said, this isn't simply about looking at a piece of artwork and thinking, oh, okay, is that good? Does it have texture? Does it have power? Does it have this? No. There's more to it here because think about where Bali is now. Think about the changes that has happened in Bali now. The work that has gone here are not simply artistic, they're also historically so relevant and pertinent. They recorded something firsthand with a personal impression, a personal digestion, personal handprint, but they're accurate. They're accurate to the point where that was the view of Uluwatu Cliffs, that was the view of this temple, this was the view of this, not just visually accurate and detailed, but with personal storytelling accounts, with a mind that is extremely discerning and academic as well as expressive. So it's a beautiful balance of observation as well as individual personality. For me, if I was speaking on behalf from from the standpoint of a gallery, a curator, or anything like that, I think it's remarkable to have this testimonial still not destroyed despite what you've tried to do. So the maps and everything, the value of it, when he said he really wanted to do something, I thought, yeah, I mean, how many people do an event and it's not even worth listening to and it still can be enjoyable? But there is so much value and so much learning and beauty in different ways. And I haven't even gotten into, the discussions we had about his abstract work. And I'm going to invite questions for that. Otherwise, I'll go on and on. And Scott gave me a timeline. What's the time, Scott? Yeah? Good. Jam berapa sekarang? Okay, we're good. We're making good time. We're not kicked out yet. So,
Ada yang lain?
yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain, the books are for sale? You have some here, and
Yeah.
are there two books? I saw two different covers.
So there are two books, Inventing Art. Bruce also had a project called Inventing Art, the Art of Batuan. Yeah, the paintings of Batuan. And this online catalog also explains those projects. He had a 3-year project, and you had projects where you were writing for encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Bruce. And you have the Inventing Art book, which is, even today in Bali, I don't think we have a reference book for the art of Batuan as comprehensive and as well executed as this book. It is kept at the Arma Museum. It is in Amazon Paraplus. Now, it's available online at Soiji, with a difference. Anything that is here with us is pretty much a signed copy. So we're providing limited editions of signed personal copies by Bruce without too much of an increase on the price. So it's about a 10-15% more and you're getting a signed copy. That's just to explain the difference in the ones in our collection. So, and anything purchased tonight is also going to be personally signed to you. He wanted to give away some maps, some printed maps, but we forgot to bring them, so sorry. We forgot.
Well, maybe I can do just a quick question. I have some maps of Ubud. It goes from Tagalog down to Gogacha. And it never sold. I have no idea why. I think the orientation of the map was different. It wasn't a flat on top, it was off to the skew. And it just, people didn't buy it. But I would be willing to give away for free those maps.
So we
either I give away and they get saved or they get ruined in my studio.
can I be smart about this? And say, guys, put your emails down, give me your contact details. I will never bombard your inbox with any kind of marketing stuff, but if you subscribe, we can send you out a map. Isn't that cool? It's still free. There you go. See, smart and still ridiculously stupid. All right, so book available. You had a question? Yes.
Hi. So I wanted to ask about your process of making the map, like traveling Bali and taking your motorcycle and doing all your sketching. And I'm wondering, what, like, spending 5 years doing that, I'm sure some things came to be known by you, right? Like, I get the sense that you became acquainted with the land in a way that maybe we would never become acquainted with the land because of the depth of your relationship through the observation and sketching and the note-taking. And I'm wondering if there's anything you would like to share with us around maybe something that surprised you or culminated in a deeper understanding around the land based on that process.
So all these gallivanting around on your bike, all the stories you told me, there's got to be a way of saying how meaningful it was. Because you really know Bali.
Well, what happens with my condition is I lose a word. 10 minutes later, it comes back.
Yeah.
Can you stick around for 10 minutes? I will. I'd be glad to tell you for the rest of the evening. I'd be glad to talk about it. But I can't think of the word right now.
Do you know what I mean though? Do you understand the question? It's sort of like when you spend so much time thinking about something or observing it or having it in one's mind as a form of reflection, suddenly, for me personally, an understanding, like in Indonesian it's menjelma, Yeah,
With Vilma,
yeah, it transforms into your being, this understanding, and it has its own power actually. That's kind of what I mean.
Those things are a big mystery to me. I don't have a firm understanding of Jalma. But I will answer your question if you give me just a few minutes.
Okay.
I suggest that you probably just had a very sore butt.
So what?
Sore ass. Riding bikes. That's my memory of riding bikes all over Bali all that time ago.
Yeah. No matter how long I've been on a motorcycle, I've heard.
I think, and I'm just speaking from my observations with conversations with Bruce, and even with the things he didn't say. If you're an artist, and many people here are, you know, there are things that happen and register, and where you're saying, Dilma gets one with you, and you're not thinking about it. I think looking at the work shows already exactly the answer that you're asking. Because when you look at illustrations, I mean, it's a word, it's an illustration, it's not. You see the temple, you see, you know, the Goa Gajah, you see the mask, the Naga mask. I do pencil drawings, I know that they're meditative. But you don't necessarily have that result if you weren't. This is why he calls it inhale. I think he's answered it, like he's taking it all in, and it inspires him, it feeds all that information, and even if it's not articulated in a certain way, when you read his works, when you read his explanations of the terrain, topography, whether this is a man who's inspired by Paul Klee, and he's loved calligraphy for a long time before we were doing abstract works. What I love about working with Bruce is how much I'm learning about the originality of, I guess I'm a little bit abstract as well, but how I like to say is that the nature of his mind. The nature of his mind is a piece of art. Yes. Yeah? And experiencing this, the intention is to appreciate that work of art. It's not about one aspect of it, but it's the elements. I don't think his abstracts can exist without his illustrations. His illustrations also exist because of his abstract work. I think they are both part of this wonderful, talented, brilliant mind. And then you have his words. He's a brilliant writer, beautifully balanced, beautifully accurate, and at the same time expressive. So from one writer to another, I'm saying, you know, read his works, because his illustrations is one richness, but his words is another. We were discussing that today. I mean, do I have permission to speak a little bit about our conversation too? Yeah, the Parkinson's. Yeah.
No.
No? It's enough.
I think I guess can answer your question. It was when I was living in Tejekula, the village on the north side of Bali. There was very, very primitive. Shoot.
Tejekula being primitive.
And I had to take a ride out to Sugriwa every 2 days to send faxes. Remember faxes? There was one fax machine in North Bali. It was in the post office, and so I was coming back to my rented room, I just hit the side of it was during the dry season. So it was this rich red, yellowish ochre color. And I felt like I thought to myself, I was born in Chicago and living in Tejikula. There's another place that could be as farther than where I was born. Have I come home? And I left the question dangling. But we just finished building a house in Tejikula, so I guess that's my answer.
So, any more questions? You wanted everybody to have a look through the work.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
feel free to look through the artwork. This is all original work.
With no instructions to wash your hands beforehand.
No, what I mean to say is it's tactile.
Yeah, he really wanted everybody to have an opportunity to feel them. If you're going to be in this room with these works, you should be able to touch them.
Anyway, we're going to go to informal, as Dion just said. Thank you all for coming. Let's support Bruce and maybe take a piece of art home. Yeah, I want to look at one of these maps of Ubud to the Tagalalong. You don't have them, or you have them?
I forgot to bring them.
Okay.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, that's okay. You send me an image, and we'll get Gojek to send me one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll send you a cyber donation. Yeah, we'll work it out. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Appreciate the support. Tomorrow night is the Indigenous Film Festival with David Metcalf. If you're free, please stop by. Thank you, Suichi Gallery, for co-hosting, and for all that you do for Bali, Indonesia, and Usada.
Everybody, I'm going to do our content thing and say